Well, if you're looking for signs, look no further. This right here is absolutely shocking. What you're looking at is massive amounts of boats, cargo ships, oil tankers, either docked, parked, or barely moving off the coast of Singapore. And it has turned this place into a parking lot. Now, Singapore is not the only place that's seen this type of action, but right now it's seeing it the worst. It has some wondering, is this being done, intentionally by certain groups? But just taking a look at the map here, you can see there is a large presence of parked vessels in this area. Now, over here on Zero Hedge, they brought this up. The volume of oil that is sitting off the coast of Singapore and Malaysia has increased significantly. They have over 40 massive tankers, super tankers, sitting there. They're going to be filling them with oil offshore. Okay? And we were talking about last night the rigged markets and who's been pulling the strings. Well, it's been no secret this whole time that Saudi Arabia has been trying to set the trend across the globe for a long time. And what they were trying to do is they were trying to keep the prices so low per barrel on the market, even if they were losing a little bit of money, because ultimately it was keeping the fracking and the fracking rigs shut down in places like the U.S. and other countries, where they just could not afford to operate once it got that low. And these other countries knew that. The problem is there's going to be a shift here in the next 10, 20, 30 years, big time, away from oil and the way that it's been used for so long. It's already heading in that direction. And this is when Saudi Arabia and their empire will start to decline. So this may explain why they're building a huge trench and a wall around their country. Sounds like somebody is a little paranoid at this point. Plus, who's been tied to all the talk with 9/11? You see, and they are Donmei Jews. You see, that act like they have Muslim intentions, but they don't. And once you figure all that out, it all becomes clear too. And you can see here on these images, the same thing. Just, it's a parking lot. And the same thing was happening off Texas. They were talking about it here, off Galveston. And that situation got better in time. And one can only hope that this over here does the same, because this affects everyone. You mark my words. You mark my words. When some of the next big action in terms of world war breaks loose, it's going to come down to routes in these trading lanes. And with China taking over a large swath that is very controversial right now, building up the islands and the military bases and airstrips, they're taking over all that territory for the assets in the ground and for a strategic position, because a lot of these shipping lanes pass through there, and if China has control of that, they have control of those shipping lanes. If Iran is over here on the other side controlling the strait in the Gulf and passage in, I mean, any military ship that goes by there is getting shot at. They have to close down all the bays, all the windows. Any military ships, they get pinged by bullets coming from that direction when they pass by certain countries. It happens. That's real deal. But as far as this, the key players out here in the game know what's going on here. And I also wouldn't doubt one bit if some of this isn't to serve as distraction for other things going on. But one thing's for sure. When you have all these tankers just sitting here, at some point, something's going to have to give. And people may not care much about Singapore, their ports, or even other countries outside of that. but just one key country falls, goes down, it will affect everyone. And if something happens in a key spot like this, that is something's holding up the production, what if China's like, where the hell's all of our stuff at? Where's the oil? We can't get through. You know, this and that. We're stuck down here at the port. We can't even get in and get gas. It's so packed. We can't make it any further till we do. You see the strategicness here, where companies are battling one another behind the scenes. Even that one flight that went down, allegedly, off the coast of Australia, what did they do? They pulled out that Malaysian flight. They pulled out China and had China come all the way out there in a search and rescue because mainly Chinese people were on board. What did they get to do? They got to pull China out and watch them and test them and see what they would do. In a wartime situation, they wouldn't be able to dock and refuel in Australia. You see, they're testing certain things out here. And from the military aspect, when you start to see those things, you know there's more to all this. Same with this most recent flight. And the one before that went down in Egypt. I mean, so many different flights. But the past two, dealing with Egypt, both had a huge military presence underneath. Israeli and U.S. military. And that's just facts. But it's something to keep an eye on here, guys, for real, in terms of these sea lanes here. And I'll refresh here and see if we can't get updated shot. Look at that. I mean, it's jam-packed in this region. And it is a busy area. Other areas are busy as well. But when it comes to all these ones that are parked, just sitting, something to make note of. If things change, I'll update. Starts to clear up, I'll update. If it gets any worse, I'll update. But just be aware of the situation, because I don't think most people out there realize that what happens in some of these other places around the globe does affect us. It affects the markets, it affects everything. I'll leave links. This has been Dabu7. Much love, y'all.